Severance is hands down the most visually striking show on television.
Miss Casey.
I'm here to observe Hillier. I'm to watch her for signs of sadness and verbally encourage her to forego.
What happened here?
They did that in camera.
Wait, what?
It broke my brain when I saw it in dailies.
In this episode, I'm sitting down with the editor of this incredible episode of Severance, Keith Fraase. And together, we break down how the show creates magic out of the mundane. Keith talks us through his unique triangulation editing style, cutting a scene 3 different ways to find the right tone, and how he had to blend not only the past and the present, but consciousness itself to make the audience fall in love with Mark and Gemma.
On this higher level of consciousness, humans can almost share memories.
And yes, we break down how they did this shot all in camera.
Physically and scientifically, I don't even know how that's possible.
This is the Editing Podcast, brought to you by MusicBed. If you're new here, please subscribe.
Episode 7 was shot, a chunk of it was shot on film. A lot of the, scenes between Mark and Gemma, their marriage together was all, 35 millimeter, but there's a bunch of stuff that was shot on 16 millimeter Ektachrome. They had like a Bolex camera that they were passing around set, and different people were taking the camera and going and shooting different things that were going to be eventually, woven into these memories of their relationships together. There was a lot of stop motion, time-lapse stuff that was going on. They kind of threw everything they got at it. So we had like a dump of different types of footage and things.
How that then affected the editing language of this episode.
I think it was very important for Jess, this notion that on this higher level of consciousness, humans can almost share memories in a way that like they can be experiencing things. Like Mark is out cold for the whole episode. He might be remembering and experiencing things from Gemma's point of view that he wasn't there for. None of that stuff is really spelled out, but we wanted to have this sort of feeling.
I love that. That's like an extra element towards like perspective.
Jess was just really thinking out. She wanted the whole episode to have the feeling of consciousness, right? Consciousness passing from one character to another. We had a lot of kind of metaphysical, philosophical conversations about the nature of consciousness. And this is what Severance does to people, right? Just the show, like it opens up these doorways to talk about like, what it is to be human. What is it to be conscious? What is the nature of consciousness?
Hey. Oh, bless you.
Excuse me.
Hi. That was fun last night.
It was. Sorry, I have a lecture at 3 on Haji Marat, and my notes are all over the place.
Okay. I brought you something.
Oh.
It's an ant farm. Last night you said you like dance, so.
I said I like plants.
Plants?
I hate ants.
Oh, shit.
But I love farms.
Oh, good.
And that's something I focused a lot on in episode 7 was like really like honing in on, do we believe them, as a couple?
Yeah.
Episode 10, for example, pitting Innie and Outie Mark against each other between their two loves, right? Like we've spent this whole time rooting for Innie, Mark, and Helly, right? Now we have one episode to really showcase the relationship between Outie, Mark, and Gemma. Get it to the same heights as the Helly Mark relationship. You want to reach episode 10. Both of these versions of Mark have someone that they love, and I want both of them to be happy. But they're in opposition to one another, just inherent in the situation, right?
Yeah, huge stakes for you to get this right. It's like if that scene is not believable, everything's over.
Yeah, I stressed about that a lot with the first scene of them, because like where they first meet, I'm like, oh my God, this is the first time we're seeing them together. We got to believe that there is like an instant connection, that this is something that can be a believable relationship.
What do you got there? Sorry, what do you got there?
Themes of religious conversion in Tolstoy's The Death of Ivan Ilyich.
Oh my God, spoiler alert, please.
What about you? Are you reading?
Me? Yeah, this is a real treat. All quiet on the Western Blunt. drug use by enlisted soldiers during World War I.
Now stop.
No, that's what it is.
Kid's a genius. You should flunk every other child.
I couldn't agree more.
Working on episode 7 with Jess, she was such a key, part of coming up with that aesthetic that she was the one kind of pushing it further, saying, okay, I know what this is. I'm going to push it further into different directions and see where we can go without, breaking the Severance mold too much. Like, it still fits within the show, but it becomes its own thing.
She's able to really acutely understand the visual language of Severance. So therefore, when you started working with her, like, what was sort of like the directions or really interesting insights that she gave you?
Well, I mean, so there was a couple of chunks of the episode that she had storyboarded like very, very intensely and thoroughly. Like the whole kind of section where we see Rickon and all them together at the table.
We'll ramble together someday. The two of us, it will be a grand adventure.
I feel like we spend a lot of time together.
Not enough.
Really?
Are you not drinking?
What are we gonna do after?
Did you know that you can purify your urine?
Oh, fuck right off.
Why would I do that?
Experience the beauty and wonder of nature.
Like, why is it you want to do this?
Okay.
That then goes to the miscarriage.
You okay?
It then goes to MDR. That then goes to like revealing. All that stuff was storyboarded pretty thoroughly. Mm-hmm. I have a thing that I like to do in editing, which is called triangulation, which is I will cut a scene in 3 different ways. The first way is just how it's scripted, how I think it like is, the director was like assuming it was going to be seen. The second way is usually trying to take it into some sort of different perspective. Like if the scene is kind of supposed to be in Gemma's perspective, maybe the second scene is in Mark's perspective. And then the third way is some, crazy, like let me just take out all the audio and put music over it, or let me just do something insane. Usually the second 2 cuts are worthless, but sometimes there's something in there that sparks some sort of idea that we then chase, right? There's a moment in the episode where it's right after the IVF clinic, the clinic where Mark and Gemma, we realize that they're trying to have a child.
It's the next step for a lot of people.
And then the camera sort of pulls back from her and goes down the hallway and... That was shot as this sort of unbroken time-lapse shot. Like, it took all day to shoot. And I was like, great, thank you. You shot a wonderful piece of footage. I'm going to slot this into the timeline. I have a very easy day today. Well, Jess, she was like, okay, this is cool, but, like, it's just too clean. Like, let's mess it up some. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll start reversing some footage. I'll move things out of shape. I'll drop different frames here and there. We're approaching the elevator, or we'll approach it 4 or 5 or 6 times just to kind of like mess with like the rhythm of things. She thought that was cool, but she wanted me to go further. So frustrated, I was like, I don't know. I'm just gonna start grabbing random footage from old episodes and I'll just toss it in here as like little flashes, like one flame flashes, just to see if that works. And she liked it, and she thought it was cool. And all that just came from Jess saying, "This is good, but not good enough. Keep going, keep trying things." And
The phrase I got out of that was like finding hints of ideas. Throwing images like that, rather than it just being a clean sequence, it's like I now as an audience member begin to question what's happening.
Right.
And that even becomes a much more sort of engaging experience. Like, why am I the audience being shown this? Like, why are you throwing me more questions? I now want to know more. How dare you?
Right. Well, I mean, we're going for that sort of ineffable, right? Like something that, like, there's a lot of that in Severance where everything has meaning. Everything has been thought through. Everything has been talked about. But then we usually in the editing room or in the scripting stage, sometimes, we'll like carve it down to its bare elements. So it's not fully spelled out, and there are hints there, and it keeps that mystery going. It causes you to lean in.
All right, I'm leaned in. Is this leaned in enough? Do you want me to get closer? No, but seriously, finding those moments in any edit is just so crucial for me. I lean in when I watch Severance right at the title song. You know the bit when it starts going? Like, I'm in, like, I'm right there. But that doesn't work when you're just using stock music. You need well-curated, genuinely good, authentic music. Like, other sites can give you just background music, but MusicBed gives you a soundtrack. Their catalog is really impressive. There's no fluff or filler, just actual genuinely damn good music. And if you don't know what song you want, you can use their AI tool to find out what you're looking for in just a few clicks. Seriously, your story deserves so much more than just generic stock music. Our ears are finely tuned to actual quality. A music bed gives you that actual quality. So right now, Music Bed is offering the Editing Podcast viewers a 14-day free trial of their subscription. So take a peep at the description and sign up. Anyways, let's get back to the interview.
He'll be okay. There might be some deficits. Hopefully nothing long-term.
Mark's unconscious. Devon's trying to rouse him a little bit. And we sort of, going into his consciousness of what he might be thinking and feeling as he's unconscious. And we arrive at this memory. This presumably is after, a couple of dates that they've had, or maybe they've been together for a while.
It's an ant farm. Last night you said you liked ants, so.
I said I like plants.
Plants.
I hate ants.
Oh, shit.
But I love farms.
Oh, good.
We're just trying to show their chemistry, right? And showing that they have a good rapport and they're sweet with one another.
Even for me, I'm picking that up. If we go into consciousness, it's like there's a consciousness in that memory, and so all of those memories kind of blending together in this sense. And especially with memory, all of these things kind of do stitch together in some odd way.
Right. I'm very big about scenes flowing into one another, and I do not like hard cuts when it comes to sound. When there's a hard sound cut, then it draws attention to the edit, where I like things to be a little bit more fluid than that.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it's for me. I think it even adds to the sort of the fact when we're looking back at memory and dreams and how everything does kind of blend together. That's what I was feeling out of that, just with that music sort of cut, like the primer on here.
But I love farms.
Oh, good. So fucking behind.
Oh, I'm not even here.
Oh, you're not here? Okay. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Что это?
Yeah.
Really?
That's a huge visual cue for our information.
One of the challenges in episode 7 was how quickly do you want the audience to pick up on like what's been happening to Gemma? We had to kind of restructure some scenes to kind of dole it out. So at the first cut of it, things were a little bit too weighted at the beginning, and then the mystery was kind of over, and the rest of the episode kind of sagged a little bit. So we had to try to restructure it so that this is what I think might be going on, but I'm not entirely sure.
Who's putting it together, Mr. Handyman? You?
I happen to be quite handy.
No, you're not.
What? How dare you?
Handsy.
Handsy? Oh, all right. Maybe I am kind of handsy.
I think a lot about, okay, where do I want to hit certain things in the music, and then where do I not want to hit things? So you don't want to always hit the beat. That's going to get repetitive. So I wanted to start off here, like the stuttering eventually like actually hits a little, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, right as you go into that transition, which I think kind of helps you get into the rhythm of the song.
It sets up that language straight away, even more so that we're now into even more of an ethereal sort of experience.
We love these, obviously the flash frames. When I'm first doing these edits, it's almost like the messier the better. And then you scale it back and try to clean things up. So the way that this was written in the script was it was just supposed to be another one of those time-lapse things, right? Like we start with Mark and Gemma here. The camera sort of pans across them, goes across the whole room. Time-lapse starts happening. Days turn into night.
C'est beaucoup moins dansant, mais tout aussi charmant qu'une valse à 3 temps, une valse à 4 temps, une valse à 20 ans. C'est beaucoup plus troublant, c'est beaucoup plus troublant, mais beaucoup plus charmant qu'une valse à 3 temps, une valse à 20 ans, une valse à 100 ans, une valse à 100 ans, une valse à 100 ans.
And it was lovely, and I thought I was going to have a very simple edit to do. Here you go, plop that in the timeline. And then Jess was like, no, I have different designs on this. I want to do different things with it. I don't just want to do a simple time lapse. And just like earlier when I was talking about that scene in the hallway where we started throwing memories, she's like, I want to do that, but even more here. They had this Bolex camera on set. And basically anytime they had some downtime, they would take this Bolex camera and go and like shoot different things around the set. So we had like this 4 or 5 hour long sequence that was just random shots that had been accumulated over the course of the shoot. And at first we didn't really know what to do with all of them. And it was a lot of trial and error as we sort of built this sequence before we started to realize, oh wait, there's a seasonal rhythm that's going on here. Let's actually like make it sort of like where the seasons are passing and we're feeling like life, regenerating and changing, and you're seeing, might be seeing deer earlier, then you're seeing, young deer later. And narratively, we're just trying to give the feeling of life, speeding by. Does it feel like memory? Does it feel like a thought?
Is this part of the time-lapse shot as well?
Well, the stuff with Mark, that was shot for a different scene, a different moment that we ended up not using. We wanted to make sure we kept checking in with our characters and checking in with them and seeing time go by.
Interesting match cut here. Well, it wasn't even a match cut, but I felt like it. For him looking out the window and then just a jump cut to her.
They're in the same room, but they're not in the same frame together. So where before we just had a moment of tenderness, here's a moment of separation.
Yeah.
I'm actually coming up on my, good Lord, 13th wedding anniversary, 14th. And when you think back on it, I think back and all those moments, all the good times and the bad times and the tough times and the happy times, they all kind of fold together and you feel them all when you walk into a space.
Everything you just explained there, that entire story is told just by that match cut, pretty much. Him having a wife and him grieving his wife, like, it's far more important to emphasize the fact that they're married. It's because you got that moment with the ring there, and then you also had the other moment when it was her hand on his shoulder with the ring.
Yeah, and my big thing with all of this is I feel like it's so important that each image has iconic value to it, right? And that way you can read it quickly. So each of these things, hands on a body with a ring, Mark smiling, or it all can be read in the blink of an eye, or at least when you're thinking back on it, you kind of you don't realize, but you've digested it a bit. At this point, we're back into like the main chorus of the thing, and so now I remember like we are going back into a more like rhythmic kind of cutting, like da 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 da. Is a cut and a transition to like a different thought and idea. I'm trying to like really like ride the music at this point, and that's going to kind of really climax at the sort of final like piano trill. That little the pan you have right there.
Yeah.
That's my favorite cut in the whole episode. On the because it just hits his, again, I don't know what he's saying, but he goes, you have to waton. There's something about the way he throws that syllable out. The synergy between the camera movement and the vocalization of the song is anyway, that's one of my favorite moments.
Brilliant, yeah. I call them texture shots. I use a lot of those as well for me if I want to get like a throw a little of energy in there. It's a good momentum into the sort of action shot of them dancing as well. It matches the movement of it, and it's such a small detail, but it works so well with momentum there.
Thank you. I do a lot of work in documentaries as well as narrative filmmaking, and my favorite thing in editing documentaries is making those connections. Footage doesn't have any, let's see, necessarily any inherent narrative connection. You, like, as an editor, you get to find those connections. You get to like, you're stacking things and creating these kind of interesting juxtapositions. And I love it when people are talking and you're getting these different interviews from different people, and they're talking over each other, and like people in different rooms that record at different times are now almost saying like they're finishing each other's sentences, and then you're finding footage that might have been shot 40, 50 years ago, and it's echoing the things that they're saying and building all that on top of each other. I think it creates this weird sort of, that's when the film starts to vibrate. So that shot has no dissolve over it. They did that in camera.
Wait, what?
It's this crazy thing. That's how they. I mean, we put a little digital zoom on it, so it gave it some movement to it, and just wanted to do it in camera. She did like a the double exposure kind of a thing.
How? I physically and scientifically, I don't even know how that's possible.
No, it broke my brain when I saw it in dailies. I was like, wait a second, what is happening here? Did the lab mess up? And I got to hand it to her. It has a sort of, I mean, I don't know how, if anyone's gonna be able to pick up on this or realize that, this is in camera, but there's something about it, to me at least, it has a sort of weird magic to it that makes it feel like a different dissolve than if it was created in the Avid.
Well, for me, it was the reason why I felt this was such a different dissolve was actually because it's two dissolves. We have this shot, then there's actually a slightly empty shot where she has a sort of ghostly image, and then we fade into another day. There's 3 shots in there, but all of that was done in camera.
Yeah, Gemma appears in a weird sort of way there that it lingers in a kind of a strange way that I think, if I just threw it like a 100, 150 frame dissolve on this thing, it wouldn't do that. It'd be a little too clean. I had the same reaction, and I wish I could actually explain it to you. She walked me through it at one point, but I don't know enough about cameras to for it to make a whole lot of sense to me. I just know it was a process of double exposure that she did, winding the film back. Again, it's not really something you can do with digital photography. You have to do it. It has to be with actual film.
Really? Are you not drinking?
What are we gonna do out there? Did you know? Experience the beauty and wonder of nature.
Why is it you want to do this?
Okay.
This when I was watching this, I just leaned forward on my couch, of sort of the experience of this when this was happening.
That is just one shot in camera. Mm-hmm. We knew we didn't want to have any music there. We had just had this big massive musical montage. You just had a big musical movement. You want to kind of chill out for a while. So while it kind of feels like, oh, this might be a good place for some slow creeping score, I'm like, no, let's just let's chill out for a bit. Let's do this in sound design.
Yeah,
I think it was more of a matter of just we have to hear something here, and it's a tense moment. And there's like a low earth rumble that I have in my sound effects. I love it. Anytime a character is going through something, I like to throw it in there, right? So I think I probably just used that just to kind of get into her mindset. And again, it's into that notion of the whole world is falling away, and she's I don't know if you ever had that experience where you're trying to push the world out and your head starts to throb a little bit. It kind of feels like a rumble, right?
Mm-hmm. In terms of story showing rather than storytelling, I instantly knew what happened just from that moment. And then even for me, I then began to as with her, began to process the idea that, well, okay, a miscarriage has just happened.
You're looking for each edit to move the story forward, right? Not everyone's going to realize the miscarriage has happened, on that first shot, but you realize that something troubling is happening on the close-up, right? And we're living with her in that moment. And then you jump to the wide, we see her kind of walking funny. And for astute observers, you'll see the blood on her leg, but you might not have seen it. It's kind of hard to see in that shot. And so then to move the story one step further, let's go in tight to the leg and the shower. And I think that's when you realize, oh, this is what's happening. So each cut of this is trying to move the story forward a little bit more and reveal more information.
That's fantastic story showing rather than storytelling. Wait, I've only just noticed the water's going up. I've never noticed that before.
Yep. That's our little subtle thing that we threw in there. It was always planned to have the sort of water droplets reverse on Mark's shot. We were like, oh wait, let's kind of start the reverse thing earlier. Talking about the shifting of perspective, that also puts you in Mark's perspective, because we were about to go to this shot on his face. He's looking very concerned and something, it's not just concern for his wife, but something is off. So that's why we also reversed that shot, was to kind of oh, we're seeing what Mark is seeing, that time is now all of a sudden going backwards and changing. So another reason why we did that.
Miss Casey.
I'm here to observe Hillier.
Oh.
It's a heavy VFX shot in that it's stitched together. The rain reversing and him turning, that's all in camera. But this pan off here is a VFX shot because this of Miss Casey is actually a footage from season 1 that wasn't meant for this. Obviously, there was no conception of this. It was just in season 1. We used to just have him kind of turn around and we'd cut out, and it was a little bit jarring. So we decided, let's see if we can actually VFX this and make it all one fluid thing. So we were able to like morph this shot.
Wow.
Yeah, every now and then we'll do something heavy like that, just if it's going to help with the storytelling.
Brilliant. The pretentious interpretation I've got of this is them as outies. During that whole experience, and especially with all of that was done like sort of in camera, what's fascinating about that is that then supports like the realism of it. So therefore, when we are then transitioning back into the in-world, for that to be done with like a digital effect in a way, kind of then also puts us back into this world as well.
I will say that I think it was a very, very brilliant choice on Jess's part to shoot, everything in this thing that's on the outie world. These memories are all shot on film, as I've mentioned, and then once we're back in Lumen, we're back to digital. And I think it was such a brilliant choice because not just because of the tone and the feel of it all, but also you treat the two things differently. And when you shoot something on film and you achieve something organically, you want to kind of keep that going. You want to protect it. You want to keep that organic quality to it, right? You don't want to mess with it too much. Whereas once we're back in the in Lumen, like it feels, it's okay. Let's do some more of these VFX transitions. I don't know. There's something about it. Just like we're all just operating a little differently.
I'm here to observe Hillier.
Oh, no one told me.
Miss Cobell's orders. I'm to watch her for signs of sadness and verbally encourage her to forego further suicide.
Oh yeah.
Wow. What happened here?
So I can tell you exactly, all of it's in camera. All of it was actually shot. It's just shots that are stitched together is really all it is. They shot it in pieces. So the shot that starts on Gemma and Mark, it's all those kind of weird robotic arm things.
Yep.
And that sort of like swing camera move, that's just something that they practiced and they got just right. Even the lights going out are something that they timed out on set. The ring that comes in there, the sort of cables, that's a second shot. So that's where the stitch happens. That's another shot.
Yeah.
That's a fourth shot. I don't know how they did this, but they were twisting it so these cables kind of collapsed in on the camera.
Wow.
That's a fifth shot. There's a little stitch in there. And then here, this is a sixth shot. Now, the little grate here, that's fake. That's VFX.
Yeah.
They just did a good job of timing that out. And I mean, I think we probably like speed, we always speed ramp these things different times, in imperceptible ways to make it work well.
What was her reason to be very insistent that a lot of that was shot in camera?
I mean, it's what we've been talking about this whole time. If you build a digital space and you can move the camera wherever you want, it's really, really hard to build back in the sort of inherent messiness of real life. Even though the shot is stitched together, the movements are all real. Like it's all based in reality.
Yeah.
And that I do think is the secret sauce of Severance is because we are gifted with a long production period, a long post-production period, we have the time to really discuss, ruminate, and think about these things.
Brilliant, yeah.